Sunday's first video for you is first news stories about Ethiopia and Somaliland. Ethiopia is about to sign an agreement with Somaliland. Ethiopian government officials are due to arrive in Somaliland in coming days. Ethiopia is signing this agreement with Somaliland to use Berbera port. We know that Ethiopia has lost its 19% share in Berbera port of Somaliland, but Ethiopia is interested in using this port of Somaliland. Second news story, two news stories are from Gondar. Firstly, a Fano commander who was arrested, I think, last month when he was trying to enter Volkayt from Gondar was released. A court ordered his release, but he went missing after his release in Gondar. And in Gondar, we saw Yilkal Kefale, Amhara president today. Gondar was the place where religious clashes broke out. Muslims, several Muslims, more than a dozen, were killed in religious clashes more than a month ago. Yilkal never visited Gondar back then, but today he arrived in Gondar. And next to story is from Oromia. OLA backed news sources have shared some pictures claiming that some militias, government-backed militias, their members have surrendered to OLA. And lastly, viewers, we have received some information which indicates that basic services could be restored in Tigray in coming days. Reportedly, an understanding has been reached between Tigray and Ethiopian federal government. First story is about Somaliland's Berbera port in 2017. Ethiopia, Somaliland and the UAE started construction of this port. Ethiopia owned 19% share, UAE's DP World Company owned 51% share, and Somaliland owned 30% share. The port has started its operations, though it is being extended. But last week we heard from a Somaliland minister that Ethiopia has lost its 19% share. So now DP World of the United Arab Emirates has 65% share, and Somaliland's Ports Authority owns 35% shares of the port. Ethiopia, though it has lost its 19% share, but it is interested in using this port. Ethiopia lost its shares because it could not fulfill some requirements, some conditions. What we've heard is that due to Tigray conflict, Ethiopia failed to commit finances for this project. That is why Ethiopia has lost its share. But Ethiopia is still interested in using this port. In coming days, an Ethiopian delegation is due to visit Somaliland. Discussions will be held, terms and conditions will be finalized. Some Ethiopian factories are using Berbera port these days for importing public goods, reportedly three-wheeler vehicles are being imported, but so far Ethiopia is mainly using Djibouti's ports. 95% of Ethiopian imports and exports are using Djibouti's ports, and Somaliland's Berbera port is going to target 30% of Ethiopian imports and exports. The target is that Ethiopia should at least use Berbera port for 30% of its imports and exports. So that is why in coming days an agreement is expected between Ethiopia and Somaliland. Djibouti is a bit worried. Djibouti is demanding increase in port fees. PM Abiy was in Djibouti yesterday, and an Ethiopian project to transport fuel through Ethiopia-Djibouti railway line could not be completed because of Djibouti government's unwillingness and Djibouti government's lack of interest in the project. Djibouti wants a binding agreement with Ethiopian government that Ethiopian government will only use Djibouti's ports for the next 10 years for the transportation of fuel. But Ethiopia is exploring other options as well. It's going to sign a key agreement with Somaliland in coming days about the use of Berbera port. Two new stories from Gondar, viewers. Firstly, a Gondar Fano commander, a Fano Minilik brigade Fano commander was arrested in Gondar last month. His name is Athene. He and his colleagues and fighters were trying to enter Volkayt from Gondar. And they tried to enter Volkayt because there were rumors that government forces, Amhara government forces and Amhara militias were being told to leave Volkayt. And ENDF was taking control of Volkayt. Back then, Minilik Brigade Commander Athene and his fighters tried to enter Volkayt from Gondar. They were arrested. Athene was arrested as well. So since last month, he has been in custody. Reportedly, Gondar Wareda court granted him bail. This week, he was granted bail for 20,000 Ethiopian birrs. He was released from Gondar prison, a place being used as prison in Gondar. But immediately after his release, he went missing. Now it is being said that he has been abducted by security forces. Athene commander's family is claiming that immediately after his release, some security officials arrested him outside the prison premises, and now his whereabouts are unknown. We have seen that in the case of OLF leaders as well, that when they were released by court, after their release, they were kidnapped by security forces, and later they were shown in custody and new cases, new charges were filed against them. So it could happen here as well. Secondly, in Amhara region, Gondar, where we know that more than a month ago clashes erupted, Muslims were targeted and more than a dozen Muslims were killed. Their houses were set on fire, mosques were burnt as well. Yilkal Kefale was nowhere to be seen in Gondar back then, but today he arrived in Gondar and he held a public discussion in Gondar city. You can see some pictures on your screen. The pictures are from Gondar, where Yilkal Kefale can be seen holding a public gathering with locals, Muslims, Christians, religious elders of Gondar participated in this program. The program was meant to create religious harmony in Gondar. Though Yilkal visited Gondar very late, I mean the incident happened more than a month ago, around 2 months ago I think. So after 2 months he is visiting Gondar. Thirdly, viewers, we have some pictures for you. One picture shared by OLA backed news sources. Oromo Liberation Army armed group operating in the Oromia region of Ethiopia for decades, and around 40 days ago regional and federal forces launched a military operation against OLA in Oromia. Government claims that OLA has suffered heavy losses, that it is nowhere in any village or town, but 2 days ago in an interview, an OLA commander said that their trainings, recruitments were underway in Shava and OLA was in control of villages. Now OLA has shared some pictures. The pictures show government-backed militia members. You can see a picture on your screen. These are government-backed militia members who have surrendered. OLA says that these are poorly trained, ill-equipped militia members, and government forces are endangering their lives by launching them into fighting against Oromo Liberation Army. Lastly, viewers, very important news story is from Tigray. Since November 2020, Tigray has been under a blockade, under a siege. Electricity remained cut off in most parts of Tigray except Mekelle and other some places. Telecommunication services suspended, banking service as well. Now we have learned through some sources that an understanding has been reached between Tigray government and Ethiopian federal government, and in coming days there could be resumption of basic services like banking, telecommunications services and electricity. Internet shutdown is being seen for around 17 months. And a few days ago, we saw a statement from Linda Thomas Greenfield, US envoy to the UN, who called for resumption of internet services in Tigray. Things seem to be moving in the right direction, though slowly. Truce was announced, then aid delivery started. Its speed was slow, now speed is increasing, and this week 308 aid trucks reached Tigray's capital Mekelle, and now direct talks are going to start in coming days in Tanzania. And now this another development that telecommunication services, banking services and internet, electricity could be resumed. I think they'll be resumed gradually, one by one. In some parts of Tigray, there'll be resumption, like we're seeing other developments. That things are happening gradually. 2 days ago, Demeke Mekonnen, Ethiopian Foreign Minister, Deputy Prime Minister, briefed EU's 27 diplomats about government's efforts to find a political solution to Tigray conflict. Government is looking to receive financial assistance from the EU, loans, grants from IMF and other institutions, and that is why we're seeing some measures, encouraging measures by the government, which could alleviate the suffering of the people of Tigray. So in coming days, we could see resumption of these basic services in Tigray. Thank you for watching.